That was not a good movie. So I watched Five Nights at Freddy's, and part of me was like hoping for something, real good, and the other part of me was not expecting anything good. Um, Mainly because like what was it, the Nicolas Cage Willy's Wonderland one was actually like a pretty good like knockoff, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's thing. Since it was like great because one, you have Nicolas Cage, and two, like he didn't speak, and then like shit just popped off like around him, you know, and then like that was it. That's the movie, that kind of stuff. Um, this one was it's not good, and I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It would have been lower, believe me. Um, it would have been lower, but I learned that like the animatronics were one real animatronics that were made by Jim Henson Company. So it's like, oh, they got like the puppet people to make these fucking puppets, Um, like and he looked great because it's like shot in it's shot in the dark. The movie is shot in the dark, so like the way how it's lit too, I couldn't like initially I was like, is it CGI or is it? And I was like, no, it's real, And then and like then you're like, oh, then you could tell like the texture didn't have like that weird like I don't know how to. I'm just doing this gesture. Anyway, so like the animatronics, they look great. They look like the actual characters, from the game. Like the place looks like the place. Like the camera angles, it looks like the game. Awesome. Matthew Lillard's in the movie. Amazing. He acted his ass off in it, because why not? He didn't have that large of a part. They made it seem like he had a larger part. And I get why, because they want the butts in the seats kind of stuff. But again, it's not a good movie. Like that's the only reason. Like for those literal two things is why I was like, all right, it's 2 out of 5 star. If not, this would have just easily just been like. But I guess I'll go into spoilers a little bit, like in a bit. But like yeah, so this movie doesn't feel like the game, And I get it. Some people would be like, oh, like if you want the game, just play the game, that kind of BS. But it kind of did. It kind of did like a like. It's weird to say it kind of did what Transformers did, because with Transformers, you want to just see the fucking robots, But then they had to like shoehorn in like Shia LaBeouf and his story of being a person, In this one with Josh Hutcherson, with him, you have like him as the nightly security guard, and then he has like this backstory, and it's just like I don't care about the backstory, and it doesn't like it correlates with the main story, but if you took it out, it still would have been like fine, like I'll go into spoilers, but yeah, like it's not a good movie, you know. Like I guess if you're, it's so fucked up to be like, I guess if you're a kid, you'll really like it because like the game came out like 10 years ago, like a little less than 10 years ago, because I remember watching like Markiplier play all of it, Markiplier and all his friends play it, fucking Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie play it, I've seen all the people, it would be like the game would come out and you just watch every one of these big like they're not streamers, the big YouTube gamer guys, like each one of them, play the same way and be like, this person did it better in that one, this person screamed a lot, this person didn't even flinch when the jump scares happen, I remember I used to like watch it, and I never played it because I just, I don't really play games because I'm a boring person. But, it was just like, so it's like, I've seen all the gameplay. It's like I know the lore kind of thing. And again, I guess, yeah, if you're like a, 13-year-old kid, you would probably enjoy this. But, like, I don't know, man. It's not for me. It's funny because then the 13-year-old kid would have been fucking, like, 3 when the thing came out. Oh, God, I am so old. Anyway, I'm gonna go into spoilers. 1, 2, 3. Spoilers. So, yeah. So, like I said, there's the backstory thing with Josh Heidenreich himself, And okay, fine, he's a security guard. They could have just had him as like a down and out, like, shitty security guard, you know, who's just a bit weird. But they had to give him like a backstory on why he's weird. You see him like in the beginning of like the movie begins, and it's like, oh, you see a bottle of pills, but you don't see what it's for. You know what I mean? It's you can tell it's a prescription bottle, but what is it? You don't know. And then he's at his like mall security job, and then suddenly like, he's going to get ice cream or something, and he sees like a little boy, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh my god, runs after, like, tackles like the dad, of the kid into like the fountain in the mall, starts wailing on the guy. Backstory: when he was 13, his little brother got abducted right in front of him, and so nightly he takes these specific sleeping pills so he can kind of have like reoccurring dreams, living the situation over and over again, which is like, wow, that's not healthy, you know. I mean, to be that person, if you're able to afford prescription sleeping pills, therapy. I'm just saying, as someone who has to self-medicate with their own issues and stuff with my dead body, um, if you can afford the prescription shit, just get that. Anyway, that's just me being me. But so, he like relives it every night. He goes to bed, he looks at the trees, listens to sound of forest to like get back into it. Again, that God, I'm a crazy, insane person. Even I'm just like, why would I want to relive a traumatic thing over and over again? Then again, my brain replays things all the time, but you know what I mean? To choose, to relive something horrifically traumatic is another thing. And every time he, like, gets to that point, we're like in the woods and the mom knocks over the soda and she's like, oh, I gotta get some towels, watch your brother. Like, literally the 2 seconds she goes, watch your brother, and he goes to, like, look for his brother, the frisbee falls down and he's gone. And it's just like, he probably obviously blames himself for that, but like, maybe, there was another parent in that, right? It's one thing, like, not to blame the mom, she gotta get some towels, but like, the dad was there. Dad, where were you? Not watching your kids, Um, so yeah, so he loses his mall security job, and then, he talks to the career counselor guy, which is Matthew Lillard, and he's like, hey, there is this one place though, it's this like old, it's the old Freddy Fazbear place, the old not Chuck E. Cheese place. He's like, people like to break in all the time, and no, they don't want to fully close it down because the owner, just doesn't want to close it down. Exposition, thank you, Matthew Lillard, that kind of stuff. And also, like, I just like knew from then, I was like, okay, first of all, Matthew Lillard is exposition dumping on me immediately. So then I'm like, he's involved. I immediately was like, oh, he's involved. Also, it's Matthew Lillard. It's like the thing I always say. If there's certain actors you hire for roles that give away the twist, it's like, wow, Michael Ironside's in this movie. Turns out he's a bad guy. Yeah, no fucking shit, It's like, oh man, Michael Shannon's in this movie. Oh, he's a fucking asshole? Not the real Michael Shannon. He's a sweetheart, but his characters he always plays. It's like, oh, wouldn't have thought. You hire Sean Bean. He died. You know what I'm saying? Like with Matthew Lillard, especially at like the age that he is now, and especially what he's played previously, he's either going to be like the weird schizo guy, or he's going to like just start killing, or the crazy schizo killer. You know what I mean? Like, And so it was no surprise with the twist. And then, when we finally get to freaking, like, Freddy Fazbear's place, again, it looks like the game. It has all the things and stuff like that. It looks great. The animatronics look awesome. It's very much like the game. But also, like, the stupid plot thing just didn't make sense. Like, this would have been really cool. Like, it would have been really cool if they would have made this, like, first-person perspective. Because, the game is like, you're the security guard, and you're looking at the screens, and you're looking at the stuff, and all that thing, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many, like, indie horrors that, like, have done that. Like, what was it? I think couple of the VHS movies, they've done the first person perspective kind of thing. Like Hardcore Henry, that movie that, was like a hit with the weird people, you just see like you could have just had it where you still, like, if you wanted to have as Josh Hashimoto, you still could have been like, huh, what? There still could have been dialogue. It didn't have to be silent, you know? Like, the whole, like, you know what I mean? Like, the whole backstory, that whole backstory thing with the little brother thing was just dumb. They could have done it, again, just like the game, where it's like, the dude's looking through the classifieds, you see there's like a nightly security job, and it's like, cool, I'll get X amount of pay, oh, 6 a.m., da-da-da. Could have been that. Could have just been like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, you guys hiring? And then, like, when they had Matthew Lillard, like, a little, just kind of talking to him while he's at the place, kind of like, enjoy, blah, blah, blah. I was expecting, the guy, the recording. Hello, 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 it's, I don't know, maybe because I like, know too much of the lore of this, so that's probably why I'm just, like, upset about this. I'm doing the book is better kind of shit, but, like, I don't know, man, it's just not that shit is not good. And then, so already I'm just like, alright, fine with the little brother thing. But then, like, there's, like, this cop character who comes in, and then she lore dumps like crazy, And I'm just like, okay, honey. And she comes in, she's like, oh, yeah, the story they said about, all that stuff, lore dumping about the place. And I'm just like, okay, she's also involved. Because, I mean, technically, even, Josh was like, character even points it out a couple times where he's like, how do you know that there's napkins in there? Like, this place way too well for a cop who just, patrols this area, and this just happens to be one of the spots you have to double check, that kind of thing, and already I'm just like, she's also involved, you know what I mean? I'm like, her, Matthew Lillard are involved in this. I'm like, come on, what is the reveal? And the reveal was the Captain Obvious, like, oh, there's a little sister that, he takes care of, and there's this thing where, like, the aunt wants to, like, take custody of the girl, saying that he's not taking care of her right, which is understandable. Oh my god, when they're in the diner, fucking Matt Pat shows up, like, I think if I would have seen this in the theater, and he shows up as, like, the waiter, I would have been like, really? That would have been my response. And then when he does the whole, like, oh, it's just a theory, I would have just been like, I would have probably shouted, but, like, not in a excited way, but I would have just shouted like a game theory. Like, I probably would have did that in the theater. Because he's like, yeah, lunch is the most important meal of the day. And they're like, oh, I thought it was breakfast. He's like, oh, well, but that's just a theory. And then they're like, eh, and then he, like, his character fucks off. I could imagine people in the theater would have been like, okay, that's bad. I probably, again, would have just been like, that's just a theory. And I probably would have like a game theory. I don't know. I've, in all honesty, never watched a Mad Pat video, and I barely know who the guy is. I just know that he's just so memed on the whole game theory thing, because that's like his videos. Anytime any, like, YouTuber or online person says, oh, that's just a theory, but they all do that thing where it's like, yeah, that's just theory, and then they do the turn to the camera, game theory, and I'm just like, oh my god, I want to just put my head in a meat grinder, but anyway, but yeah, so the bitch just, like, lore dumps, and I'm just like, oh my god, the part where I was like, okay, you're literally giving the third act away, which is like, there's like the fucking suit with the spring trap thing, and I was like, oh, spring trap, and he's gonna go try. She's like, no, they could be feisty, and throws like a broom in there, and then it snaps shut, and she's like, well, more lore dump, and I'm like, I don't know, man, like, maybe I feel like if he would have found out about that by himself, like, he saw the thing, and he was just like, oh, that looks weird, and then, I don't know, does the wacky white boy thing is like, oh, I slipped, Final Destination, hit the broom, and it falls into it, and it snaps shut, and then he's like, oh, shit, like, sometimes it's good to, sometimes it's good to tell instead of show, and, like, I've talked about this, there's ways to tell me instead of show me, and then there are ways where just fucking show me, oh my god, and then, I read that, like, Markiplier was supposed to make, like, a cameo, but since, oh my god, that's my hair, that's the stress, and just my hair's falling out, I heard that Markiplier was supposed to make a cameo, but like I think a scheduling conflict because of the movie he's making. But I also read that this is a three picture thing that's gonna because like there's three games, so they're gonna make more, which I guess Matthew Lillard get the bag, kind of stuff. But I hope they get Markiplier to come back to get on the I think it's the second one when you find out. Like I want him to say the thing. I want him to do the whole like the bite of '87. I think it was '87. I want him to scream the line, the thing that he's known for, where he's like the bite of '87. Just that. I need that for the next one because I'm gonna watch it. We all know I'm gonna watch it. I'm just saying, just give me something. Um, but yeah, like oh yeah, and then like when fucking Springtrap, the dude comes out and he's just like, and then he starts talking, and I'm there like, that's Matthew Lillard's voice, but it's like slightly distorted, but like you can still hear it. He also has specific inflections when he speaks, and you're like, that's him, you know. And then I love how it's like we're like the girl looks up at him, she goes, "Dad," and then like he takes off the helmet and the music does the whoo like a reveal thing, and I'm like, was I supposed to be shocked by that? But again, he acted his ass off, especially in that suit where you just like, I always come back. Oh my god, he was like chewing that scenery. Just, ripping it. Like good for him. I enjoyed everything he did. I wish there was more of him. But yeah, like he puts on the suit, and then of course we revealed the Springtrap thing, and then he gets hit, and he's like, he's gonna, like you said, he always comes back. I'll be right back. He'll be fine. But yeah, like I just, and also like the nights didn't feel like there wasn't any like tension with it. Like with the Willy's Wonderland thing, the Nicolas Cage one, there felt like as the nights progressed, things got weirder and weirder. And again, it was not a lot of dialogue. Yeah, the people who like later came in kind of talked, but like it kind of like spoke for itself. And then this one, there was like too much dialogue, too much lore dumping, too much exposition, and not enough of like every night. Like again, he's not looking at the cameras, click, 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 and then suddenly you're like, what the. You're like, what the fuck? Like, now it's like, wait, did they just move? Like, huh? Like, rub the eye. Oh, okay, mistake. That kind of stuff. But it's like, every night went by, like, whatever, okay, blah, blah, blah. He's out there sweeping. His little sister is there, and it's fine. She's talking to the animatronics, because it's the souls of the dead children that he killed. I mean, yeah, we know fucking that. But it's like, and it's like, oh, this is fine. This is totally kosher, whatever. And then like the movie builds up to this, and it didn't like it feels, I don't want to say like family horror film, but it just seems so dumb. You know what I mean? It doesn't have like, ooh, it's spooky season for the family, like Hocus Pocus kind of thing. But it was just very much like yeah, we know what you want. This is here. This is what you get. And you're like, no, but that's not what I ordered. Yeah, but that's what you're getting. And it's like, ugh. It was not good. It was not good. I didn't think I was going to do a review on Five Nights at Freddy's, but here I am talking about it. My camera's giving me the whole, I'm about to overheat signal right here. And I'm like, you're going to cut off at any time. But yeah, like, it's not good, man. It's not good. There's going to be 2 more of these. Jesus Christ. The bite of it, yeah. This is not good. I just wish there was more, like, tension, because, like, the game, there's tension, there's eeriness, there's sounds you have to listen to, there's the jump scares, and here the jump scares were just, like, Balloon Boy. Like, initially I thought it was kind of interesting with Balloon Boy, because I was like, oh, that's, like, an Easter egg, like a thing that only people who know the game, but then it was just, like, but then the girl comes in, and she's like, I'm just gonna lore dump on you about everything, and I'm just like, it wasn't fun. It was just like, it wasn't fun. I was like, it's just not, just no. I don't know what else to say. Just no.